Howdy, y'all. Welcome to our channel. We appreciate y'all coming back on this journey and joining us for episode 3. If you have not seen our videos before and this is your first time, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe as you see fit, and also press the bell down below to be updated on any future submissions. So we want to talk about today is the walkaway movement, which has really just started sweeping the nation as of late. And the walkaway movement was started by Brandon Straka, and basically what it is it's people who are finally getting fed up with the party of the Democrats and listing reasons that made them decide to seek elsewhere, not necessarily Republican pastures, but just to completely disassociate themselves from the Democratic Party. So we're going to take this time to go ahead and just share our stories with you about what led us to this point, and hopefully embolden you to be able to go out and do the same. So I'll take the lead. So it really became real to me why I needed to walk away, or at least just get invested in politics to begin with. In the summer of 2014, I was just about to graduate from Texas A&M University, and I noticed that the student loan federal interest rates were actually going to be increased by almost a full percentage point. And that was when it became clear to me that the decisions that are being carried out in Washington, D.C., they do directly affect me, right? And I had to realize I need to actually take an active role and less of an observational role in the political process. Fast forward a couple years, and I remember when I was watching the presidential candidates begin to make their announcement speeches, and I did hear a certain specific tone in the voice of our current president, Donald J. Trump, and I heard something different, something that wouldn't sound so rehearsed, something that didn't sound like the status quo, like business as usual, and it did pique my interest. But honestly, what made me walk away from the movement was more the blowback I received when I went public with my support for President Donald Trump. And what's unfortunate is that a lot of the times what you'll get from people who don't agree with you on this is the antithesis of the hate of the love and the tolerance that they seem to purport to represent. What you'll notice is there's a lot of people who, as soon as they find out that you support Donald Trump, for some reason, they have an inherently visceral reaction and they lash out at you in a manner that is more indicative of an emotional appeal, an emotional nerve being hit than anything else. And when you try to present them with factual data and factual reasons why, you're immediately dismissed and then labeled with some of the most offensive and hurtful descriptors that they can hurl your way. I'm no stranger to being called Uncle Tom or a coon or a sellout or whatever you will. But what's more interesting is that the more people pushed back on me for supporting Donald Trump, the more resolute I became in my support thereof. And I think that as we go on this journey and figuring out why we walk away from the Democratic Party, we have to just remember that there are going to be times where people are going to single you out and make you feel as if something is wrong with you for just exercising your First Amendment right. I think it's terrible that the Democratic Party has largely devolved into a party that will go out of their way to make you feel uncomfortable or make you feel like you are a horrible person just for expressing an alternate point of view. You know, that's one of the main reasons that I walked away from the party as a whole. And I walked away from the party because they seem to only want to pander to my demographic every few years, only to get my vote and then not do a thing about it. And I find that if we actually are going to be active participants in this democratic process, we have to actually hold our elected officials accountable to do what they say they're going to do. And when I saw consistently that the Democratic Party was not willing to do that, that was what made me walk away. So I want to push this off to Eddie real quick and have him give his take on what made him walk away. And I'm going to pass the floor over to you now.
All right, thanks, man. Well, the whole walkaway movement, I feel it's been building up for a long time, and it's kind of ramped up in the aftermath of the 2016 election, obviously. But for me, I suppose my walkaway moment or what galvanized the need for me to step away from what the Democratic Party has been hijacked, I believe, to stand for, came in the aftermath of the 2008 election. Like you, I also attended Texas A&M University, and I was always very politically active. Those who were close to me knew that I was conservative, but it really gave me pause how many folks, whether friends or strangers, would come up to me and automatically expect me to celebrate the election of a mixed man to the highest office in the land. While I did appreciate the watershed moment that was, just from a historical perspective, because make no mistake, that was a big moment when I would confess that I was not at all pleased with Barack Obama's politics. I was not met with any sort of understanding. Almost universally, the reaction was either disgust or outright calumny against my person, and it really it was sad because I've always valued the political discourse in this country. And even though I disagreed with many of the platforms of the Democratic Party, I always felt that there was supposed to be a give and take in politics, and that as long as I was open to hearing what the other side had to say, then maybe we could reach some sort of a compromise or an understanding. But I felt like from 2008 on, we had an active de-evolution of the conversation, and it really was sad that it came down to cultural Marxism or identity politics. And we talked about this on episode 1 of the Wright brothers, but I feel like it really started to come into play in the aftermath of 2008. That's when I started to walk away from everything that the leftists stand for to this day, and now we see it in increased numbers. And what's heartening to me is movements like Walk Away. It shows that it's not necessarily about just flipping from a D to an R. It's about, why do you vote for the Democrat? Are they really representing your views, or are they, like you said, just pandering to your demographic? And if that is the case, then you do need to do your due diligence. And if your due diligence leads you to do so, you do need to walk away. And I feel like a lot of people are realizing that they were only voting that way because they were told to, or because it was culturally acceptable, within their demographic. But with so many people taking a hard look on the left and on the right in some cases, I think the walkaway movement could be the start of something big to get more people to do their due diligence when it comes to the political conversation in this country. So I'm very heartened by the entire conversation.
I agree, though. The walkaway movement is not so much a repudiation of identity politics as it is a repudiation of overt groupthink and people expressing the lack of ability to think for themselves and the need to have someone else establish themselves as some sort of moral superiority, and having someone else give you what your talking point, your thinking point should be. So I completely agree with you. But we just wanted to share our videos with you because we realize this movement's taking off. We want to go ahead and share our video just to go ahead and make sure that y'all feel boldened to go out and do likewise. And you are going to receive blowback, negative blowback from other people, but that's not something that should deter you or detract from your mission, which is just to illustrate the beauty of independent thought as it is, and to lead us forward into the great new future that our country has. So we appreciate you taking this time to watch our video. If you have a comment or have a suggestion for a future video, please go ahead and give us a comment in the comment section below. We appreciate y'all taking this time to join us, and we hope that you will choose to follow suit and walk away as well, and be bold in so doing. So thanks and gig 'em.
Thanks and gig 'em.
Y'all have a good one.
The first revolution is when you change your mind about how you look at things and see that there might be another way to look at it that you have not been shown. The revolution will not be televised, and be no rerun, brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live.